most recent of our big global days of action, which we call Connect the Dots. We were asking people all over the world, in places that had felt the sting of climate change, to rally. We were trying to put a human face on climate change. We're trying to do the opposite really of what those guys were doing. Show people what people who had already felt. They didn't believe in climate change. They knew that it was going on. So we're just like, we have people in 3,000 places rallying. But these are some of them, underwater, on dying reefs, in places with horrible drought or with rising sea level. A few of the problems were slightly less acute. There are folks in Bellingham. Just all over the place. Wildfires. Bekaa Valley picture. Places where sea levels rising too fast. That top red balloon is where the Dead Sea was 40 years ago. That picture just came with a little note that said, "There is no water behind our dam anymore." In Pakistan, the opposite problem. These guys, you see the next slide there, these guys were in the part of that 20 million people who had to leave their homes when the Indus flooded so badly. Just all over the place. So that's just because I'm homesick, so that's, but the same thing all over the place. There they are, blocking the coal trains on the BC border. Stop there. That was the one that really got me, maybe the smallest demonstration, just some river turning into a street turning into a muddy river. But the reason it got me was just what those signs say. Your actions affect me, which is true. I mean, I told you before, these guys are, dying as we speak from cholera and whatever else. What's wild is, though, just go back there to that one that I gave. What's wild is that it's not true in reverse. Okay? There's nothing really that they can do to change the way this story comes out, except to appeal to our consciences. They can't burn less fossil fuel because they don't really burn any now. They don't have the headquarters of the world's biggest companies to go to. They can't, they don't have. That's us. We have the ability to do those things. And we need you to do them. Keep your eye out at 350.org. The next thing we're going to do, I think, is going to happen this summer. The last 10 days of July are statistically the hottest 10 days of the year every year. And we're going to try and make them politically hot, too. 10 or 12 places scattered around the country where this fossil fuel resistance is fighting key fights. We're going to try and put a real focus on it and get as many people as we can there. Some of them will be doing civil disobedience. We might need somebody to be willing to... Actually, let me finish just by telling you two things from those arrests that we did in Washington that stuck in my mind as important. One of them, I'm looking at the demographics of this. One of them, I wrote the letter asking people to come and get arrested. I said, I don't think college kids should have to be the only cannon fodder here in this stuff. They lead the fight most of the time, they're doing most of the work. But if you're 22 in our economy, maybe really an arrest record, maybe not the best thing on your resume. One of the few unmixed blessings of aging is past a certain point, what the hell are they going to do? So it was quite good to see a lot of people who, with hairlines more or less like mine. We did not ask people, how old are you? Because That would be rude, but you did cleverly say who was president when you were born. The two biggest groups came from the FDR and the Truman administration. I was telling people, I think the last time I was here, the last day there was a guy arrested with a sign around his neck that said, World War II vet, handle with care. He was so old that he'd been born in the Warren Harding administration, which was so long ago that, frankly, I'd forgotten there was a war. So that was good. It was very good to see elders acting like elders. Second thing that was unusual about those is we asked people, if you're going to come and get arrested, would you please wear a dress or a necktie? Okay. I mean, I wore a necktie today because you guys, church and things. I don't normally wear them. I live in Vermont. We're even more casual than y'all. But we wanted to make a visual point that really undergirds everything I've been saying, which is there's absolutely not a thing radical about what we're asking for at all. All we're asking for is a planet that works more or less the way we did when we were born, and the way all human beings that we know about for the last 10,000 years of our policy. Everyone that we have history for, have a planet that works a little bit like did then. That's not a radical demand. That's, if you think about it, a conservative demand. Radicals work at oil companies. Radicals work at coal companies. If you're willing to get up in the morning and your philosophy is to make money and you're willing to do it by altering the chemistry of the atmosphere in ways that scientists have said will be ruinous and that we now can see will be ruinous because we have melted the Arctic. If you're willing to do that, then you are a very great radical indeed. You are engaged in a more radical act than any human being that came before you. And our job is to figure out how to check that radicalism quickly before it overwhelms every good thing that we have. This has to happen fast. That's the thing. And that's why I leave here in a few minutes and driving to Walla Walla tonight because I have to give a talk at 9 in the morning at Whitman College, And I'll be in San Francisco the next day, and I'll be in Iceland 2 days after that, and then Australia, and then Turkey, and on and on it goes, and it's craziness. But we have to do it quickly. That's the thing. We have to build this movement fast. Because we're not actually negotiating with other human beings. We're negotiating with physics. And physics is a bad negotiator. It doesn't compromise. It's not interested in how hard it is for us or how much easier it would be to do it slowly and gradually or anything else. It just takes the carbon that we throw at it and it does with it what it's going to do. That's the problem. So, I can't promise you that we're going to win. Don't know. We've waited a long time to get started.